What we into this week.
Yeah, anyways, welcome back to What We Into.
What? I'm your boy, Rob Karma.
We are going to discuss Uncut Gems, the Safdie brothers. Coming after that, we got Bad Boys for Life. We got Slave Play, Jeremy O. Harris's play that I think just ended on Broadway.
You said just ended?
I think it just ended January 19th.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
That's unfortunate.
Wait, so it's done on Broadway, but is it going somewhere else now, or is
Probably.
it just done?
I feel like you'll be able to catch it. It's not going away.
Okay.
It was a huge play.
Slave Play.
Slave Play.
I mean, that name alone is a kick in the dick.
Yep, kick in the dick. Who's like, let's go see Slave Play? That's gonna be a fucking awesome time.
Like, I can just see motherfuckers getting ready. Honey, did you get tickets for the Slave Play?
I did. But you know what? I'll come back to this in a second. But I know Jeremy O. Harris. I
didn't know you knew the guy.
Yeah, he did. He read your role in The Room for
no shit
as a reading. He was very, very sweet, very, very nice guy. About to go to Yale.
Just about to go to Yale.
Yeah, just about to go to Yale at that time.
Was this when you were still applying for grad school and stuff?
Yes, I had been denied at Yale the year prior. He was going the next following year, and he had got accepted.
Black guy,
huge fro, super sweet. And
I do know because this was the dude. You know why I know as much as I know about this play and why it was in the zeitgeist of my knowledge, because this is the same dude who has had this, he was at a talk. I saw it was a couple of weeks ago, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. He was at a talk back of his show, and this white woman got up and was triggered.
I have a whole bunch of notes on that. Her name was Sky Boyles or Biles. I don't know.
So triggered.
I have a whole bunch of thoughts about that. We'll get to them.
Okay.
Super interesting.
That's why. I was like,
yes.
Because then we were talking about this, and I'm like, man, I know a lot about this play, and I don't know why I know a lot about this play. Yeah. And it's because of this article. Because I remember reading about it, and then seeing the video, because multiple people were in the audience, taking camera photos and stuff, and I was like, this is insane.
Yeah, it was insane.
Okay, go ahead.
She was crazy. She was not
triggered, bro. She was mad.
It wasn't just triggered. She was like,
she was mad.
When you dig into her past, she's not all there. She had her kids taken away. You know what I mean?
Well, she told us. She was like, blah, 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 blah. We were like, whoa, that is TMI, lady. We just came to talk about a play.
Yeah. She was also hitting up every YouTube comment video because who's the conservative black male who does a talk show? It's
conservative.
You actually, you know what? I've never heard of him. You've probably never heard of him. We're not conservatives.
Know.
But he was basically walked on, talked about this woman, this crazy woman to play, and then she got onto the comment section and was commenting about being like, you should never have used this because it's unfair and yada 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 yada. Anyways,
holy shit!
Yeah, we'll get to it. Let's talk about Uncut Gems.
Uncut Gems.
2019 crime thriller directed by Josh and Benny Safdie. $45 million. No, how much budget? We don't know the budget.
Was this an independent? Because I don't remember seeing any sort of advertisements for this. It was one of these things that I'd heard about it, but I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know Adam was in it. I thought it was going to be a completely different movie than what the name suggests.
Tell me about your experience with it. Yeah.
So it's about to be award season or whatever, and this is one of these things that sort of kind of I was going through my torrents of movies and whatever, and this was one of those that were higher up at the top of the list.
Because it's a DVD screener right now.
I see.
So for those of you who don't know, SAG, Screen Actors Guild, they get sent all of these DVD screeners for free.
Yeah, if you're part of the union, they will send you all of the movies for that season for free.
So even when a movie comes out in the month of December, when they send all these things out, you will get that movie Uncut Gems while it came out
in December.
Yeah, while it's currently in the theater. So you can be watching a movie at home. It's only shitty DVD quality, which is probably why when you watched it was not great quality.
No, the quality, the fidelity on it was fine.
Oh,
it was
really?
actually really good fidelity.
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue with the fidelity, even the way it was shot. It was all done pretty masterfully.
Yeah.
I just don't know if telling a story so having Adam Sandler basically play a high profile Jewish gem dealer in New York?
Degenerate gambler.
That for me was the most entertaining part of it. Mm-hmm. But I found myself watching the time while I was watching this movie. I was like, wow, how much more is left in this movie? Because I felt like the story there, it could only go one place.
Right.
It literally, like, from the minute you see him and all that bit with the, he's using this money to pay this person and this money to pay that person, but he really, like, it only had one trajectory that it was going to end on. Even though, like, in the moment that it happened, the moment that thing happens, it was still shocking enough to be like, oh,
but
why did that take so long?
Yeah.
That's how I felt.
It is like their previous movie, Good Time, which I also encourage you to watch, because Good Time might be more of your speed.
It was actually one of the, like, people were like, when I was telling people I had saw that was the very next question. Did you see this previous film he did? And I was like, no, I didn't even know about this one. I kind of stumbled into this one.
Yeah. And
based on the way it started, I thought it was going to become an entirely different movie. Like, I feel like the name is a little bit misleading. Uncut Gems.
It's perfect.
I don't know.
It's a metaphor for humanity.
Is it?
Yeah, we're all these uncut, naturally we're this uncut thing, right? We have not been polished.
That radiates light and all these other things, but...
I made a crazy risk, a gamble. And it's about to pay off.
So I want the Celtics to cover. I want the Celtics halftime. I want Garnett points and rebounds.
What do you know?
I don't know. I just know.
Well, I'll tell you what I know. That's the dumbest fucking bet I ever heard of.
I disagree. Gary.
Yeah, well, so the movie opens up with... It starts in Ethiopia, and it's in like a mine, basically. And these guys discover this amazing gym. And then it cuts to somebody gets injured from this, something happening. And the next thing we know, we're in Adam Sandler, we're in New York. So we're really charting the progress of this
particular piece of Earth.
Yeah. Leaving Ethiopia. Which, did you notice the part where they're talking about black Jews?
Yeah.
Yeah, right? So leaving the Ethiopian black Jews and coming to Adam Sandler, a white Jew in the Diamond District of New York. And him just being super excited and trying to sell this thing to, who's the basketball player? Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett sees
does a really good job in this.
Yeah.
Playing himself.
Yeah, really good for a non-actor.
Like, he's playing himself, but still.
Yeah. I mean,
and your man Lakeith Stanfield or whatever. No, your man Lakeith Stanfield, who was literally in everything. Oh, that was the other thing I saw was Knives Out.
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, sidebar, Uncut Gems. What do you think about Knives Out, real quick?
I liked it.
Yeah. You like those Agatha Christie?
I do love that Agatha Christie shit. It subverted so many. It also subverted so many of the typical tropes of this genre. Like very rarely do you know who the murderer is at the top, or who you think is the murderer at the top, because there really wasn't a murder until you find out that there was a murder. Yeah. And I was like, oh, shit.
That was kind of the negative for me.
Was that you found out that?
Well, spoilers for Knives Out, because we know that this is not what you came to listen to.
We talked about it last week.
Right, we talked about it last week. So spoilers for Knives Out. Just take your headphones off for a minute. When he slits his throat.
Yeah.
Right?
That's where I was like, okay, he didn't actually do that. That was one of the... I was like, he's not actually dead, because they didn't actually show it. They show you him pulling the knife, and they show her turning away. But I was like, oh, okay, so he's not really dead, and this is how they're going to blah, 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 blah. It had me guessing wrongly.
Yes, because you were writing a smarter movie.
Is that what you think? Yes. You think it was a smarter version of the movie? I think
you were writing in your head a smarter mystery than what was there.
Really?
Which is not to say it was a dumb mystery.
I think it was pretty great.
It was good.
It was pretty good.
It was just a little almost too simple. You were doing the twist of the twist.
Yes.
And
so
was
pretty. And this was pretty.
This was just a twist. Yeah, exactly. It was good.
It was good. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought you would. When did you, at what point, because I said that you would probably either halfway or 3/4 of the way, and I didn't want to say this, but as soon as Chris Evans becomes a primary role in the film, that's when you would figure it out.
Yeah.
Is that when you figured it out?
Just about.
Yeah.
Just about then. I was like, he's the one character that got introduced the last, and then he's the one character who has the most interaction with her after the fact. So I was like, oh. Yeah, this is, and I still wasn't even like queuing it. I was still like, okay, they're gonna reveal that him and the grandfather were in on it, and
the twist of the twist.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, anyway,
it just has one twist, ladies and
gentlemen. It's just the one, but it's good.
Still see it. It's good if you like Agatha Christie murder mysteries.
If you do, although your man Craig was that accent, I don't.
Oh yeah. Well, Chris Evans even makes fun of it.
I know, yeah, the foghorn leghorn.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Why?
I don't know. Why? I was like...
Because he's British and he thinks that that's like an interesting accent, but for Americans, we're like, that's lame.
Yeah, it kind of took me out of it a little bit because I wasn't sure if the character of this cop was putting that on or if that was Craig's choice as an actor to have this affectation that made him seem almost like a cartoon character.
Almost like Kevin Spacey from the Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil.
I was like, oh man.
Okay.
Okay.
It's also sort of like, if it's an accent that I can kind of do, that means it's an easy accent. You know what I mean? Because my accents are fucking terrible. I'm the worst. You tell me to do German, I'm like in French and Jamaican. I'm the worst. It's primarily,
give us a little bit.
I refuse.
Give the fans a little bit, man.
Which one?
Well, I mean, you said German is Jamaican, and I mean...
I literally can't. That's the problem, is I will try and I can't.
Wow. All right.
Yeah. So, yeah, why choose that accent?
Yeah, I don't know. It was a little off-putting, but I like the movie. But back to Uncut.
If you like rising tensions and high anxiety, you will like Uncut Gems. And as well as Good Times. They're similar... almost identical movies in that sense, and this is why my wife didn't like it because midway through the movie
she didn't like it either.
She didn't like Uncut Gems. No, she was like, I don't like it. It's making me anxious, and I'm like, I dig this. This is cool. What's going to happen to this guy?
I knew what was going to happen to him.
Yeah,
I was like, they're going to murder this dude.
Well, I knew that, of course, because the problem with that is that. And this, sorry if that was a spoiler for you, but the problem is that he is an anti-hero. He is a gambler that is sort of ruining his family and his life.
And I think that's where I got off the train for him. I was like, I don't see and that's exactly where it fell down for me. Yeah. I was like, I don't see the redeemableness of this person. So why do I care because I knew what was going to happen to him. So why do I care what happens to this piece of shit person anyway? That's where I was at with this movie.
Right.
That's
why they kill him at the end. He obtains exaltation. Mm-hmm. He gets like the highest that he can possibly get in his life, and he makes that mistake, and he lets Eric Bogosian, his brother, out of the bulletproof, door glass entryway.
Brother-in-law.
Is it brother-in-law? Is that what it was specifically?
Yeah.
He lets him out. That was his mistake because he's so high that he thinks everybody is as high as him, and that's when he gets shot.
Not actually high.
No, not actually high. But that's the question: is gambling is an addiction, and so it is like he's high throughout this movie. He talks about he holds up the gym at one point and like, this is gonna make me come. You know what I mean? Like it's a high for him. This is basically gambling versus the NBA. Right. The problem with gambling, though, is that gambling doesn't have any rules. Gambling is chaos. He's trying to create rules he's trying to create control out of chaos, whereas the NBA has rules. There's that whole section where Kevin Garnett, right, is talking about, like, I'm at the head of my game, and he's like, no, I'm at the head of mine. The difference is Kevin Garnett is playing off a basis of rules. There's this underlying structure to NBA. So when he wins, he gets to enjoy all of his winnings, whereas Adam Sandler, he just gets killed.
I think for me, like, I didn't care what happened to this person because he was not a good dude. Yeah. I think that sewed it up for me right at the top. So like as I'm watching this sort of like progression of his stuff go down, I'm like, at no point did I find him redeemable. The character, don't get me wrong, I think Sandler kills. I think he does a fantastic job in the role. Yeah. But like where it falls down for me is like, I didn't like this person. And because I didn't like this person, I wasn't invested in his well-being and how he was going to turn out. Because I knew how he was going to turn out. I was like, this is only going to end one way. This is only going to end one way. So by the time we get to that, it's almost 2 hours and change, man. I was like...
Especially when you know where it's going. You're just waiting for it to drop. Waiting for the other shoe to drop.
I was waiting for the other shoe to drop.
He's moving from one controlled chaos to another, and as one footfall falls away from him, another one appears.
Instantly.
He's basically taking gambling, and this is why I had explained to Laurel. She was like, because she also fell asleep and then woke up at the end, but she was like, I don't understand why he would give that uncut gem to Kevin Garnett
at the top.
And I said, well, because as soon as he finds out that he can get that ring from Kevin, he can take that ring, sell it for $21,000, use that to like keep pushing away. Right. So in a way, it's sort of like this almost like Wall Street, this commentary. It's commentary on greed and capitalism and marketing, because he gets the uncut gem for a small pittance of what he thinks it's worth, and eventually makes millions out of it. Which is exactly what Wall Street does too.
Wait, does it? Does he make millions on it? Because I thought that.
Yeah, he's able to get the money from Kevin which is about $165,000.
And you use that to put the bet down.
Yeah,
right.
and use that to put down the legitimate.
Right.
He wins off the first bet, but that bet becomes null and void.
Well, he wins off the first bet, but the person who he owed, Eric Bogosian, he doesn't allow the bet to go through.
Right.
He thinks he's placed a bet, but Eric Bogosian's like, you've been running around town with my money, and I canceled that bet.
Mm-hmm. The part about the movie that makes me so like jazzed about it, because it's not like from a story.
Do you think he should have deserved an Oscar nomination for it?
Yeah.
You think Adam deserved a nom for this?
Yeah, just below Eddie Murphy. Those are the two. I think that what's his face, William Dafoe from The Lighthouse should have got nominated as well, and Robert Pattinson. They were both really good in that movie. Both really, really good, really amazing. I would have liked to seen all of those actors up there.
Okay.
At the top of that list is Eddie Murphy for Dolomite is My Name. Yeah, for sure, because he's so good in that movie.
It comes out of fucking nowhere.
Right.
Released up, and I think do you think maybe it suffered because it was just a Netflix film? You think if they had released it in a theater, that the Academy would have been more had more of an impetus to?
Yes, a million times. Yes, I think it was released in theaters because wasn't that the rule? For
No, that
a
was
while?
Irishman. The Irishman released in the theater for a hot second, and then it went to Netflix.
Yes.
I don't think Dolomite did.
I think Dolomite did. Let me look it up real quick. But I think that's the thing is that we talked about this, this came up this time last year with Oscars, is that if you don't release a movie in a theater, should it be considered for the Oscars?
Yes.
Yeah. But
Absolutely.
I think they have a rule that it has to go 2 weeks in a theater.
So the Oscars does have a rule.
Yes.
Like, okay.
I believe so,
that.
but I don't know if that rule is still in effect. Let's see. Dolomite is My Name. I just want to find this out real quick.
But yeah, so it was that for you. I don't know, man. Like I said, while I liked Uncut Gems, I didn't. Liked is strong. I liked it as it's a good movie. It's a good film. It's a good picture. I just don't know if it was one. I think Sandler does a fine job. I don't think it's an Oscar-worthy performance for me. And two, I didn't care enough about this character to warrant it being a 2 and almost half an hour worth of a picture.
There's almost no catharsis at the end of this movie.
Not at
as
all.
well.
Yeah, at the end, you were like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, great. Yeah, because that's what should have fucking happened.
He reaches enlightenment, or not even enlightenment. He reaches his top goal and immediately shot. No catharsis.
And his brother gets shot.
And his brother gets that kind of gutted me a little bit.
Really, Bogosian?
Yeah.
Why?
Because Bogosian's
he was barely redeemable.
Yes, but he's playing that fine line of I need to go in and intimidate this dude so that because he's a fuck up.
But he's your
Adam
family.
Sandler's a fuck up. He's your family.
He's
but
family.
If you let this guy walk over your family, he'll do exactly what he did, which is he took from his father-in-law or who was that?
Right. No, his father-in-law. I think
He took $200,000 from him.
Right.
So you can understand why Eric Bogosian's character is like, we need to go in and rough this dude up. Not too much. Rough him up because he's just not getting the picture, and he will walk all over us. He will steal all of our money. You know what I mean? There's our heaters again. But so when Bogosian gets killed at the end, and it's really his fault, because you get for a moment, there's that kind of gray area where, like, okay, what's Bogosian going to do now? Is he just going to be okay with his brother dying? And you see that he's not okay with it, and that sort of escalates the situation until he gets shot. At least I thought that was a really interesting moment.
That scene was the latter after. Yeah, you're right. The latter half of that scene where Bogosian has to come to terms with the death of his brother-in-law, right there.
Yeah,
while sort of like in the crime scene,
right.
like
suddenly in over his head for the first time.
That for me was really, really good. That was probably the truest portion of the movie for me, and it happens right at the end.
Right at the end, yeah.
I don't know.
And then we zoom into the bullet hole.
Right, that
we
goes
enter back into the
cosmos
yeah.
of it's.
And to me, that's what I think they're trying to say. There's that's chaos. The universe is chaos. Adam Sandler's trying to kind of force this order out of the chaos. And for a while, he rides that, and he's able to do that. But eventually, it catches up with him because you can't force order out of chaos. Chaos is chaos. The universe is chaos.
I don't know. I felt like with where it started with Ethiopia and the mines or whatever, its trajectory kind of went from there to something else. And we won't have to keep beating this horse to death.
I only want to talk about one more thing, and that was the mix level. That first portion of the movie where the soundtrack is up higher than average soundtrack volume, juxtaposed with dialogue at the same time.
You mean like in the clubs and stuff?
No, I'm talking about the beginning when they're in that sort of like when they're in his shop trying to sell things, and there's a high soundtrack, and they're giving you dialogue and exposition while the soundtrack is there as well.
I don't remember.
You probably won't watch it again, but if you do, or if you haven't seen it yet, I don't know why you're listening to this podcast. It's ruining it for you. But the soundtrack is by this guy. Where is it? Was it? One Hotrix Point Never. That's his band name, but Daniel Lepatin, who he did Good Time soundtrack. He does a lot of synth stuff. The soundtrack to me was like a revelation, man. I loved the movie, I think, probably twice as much as I normally would, just because of the soundtrack.
Huh.
I thought it was phenomenal.
Okay.
Let me see if there's...
I don't remember it, but if it spoke to you in that way, you're a music head, so it must have been noteworthy.
Yeah. I think that's it.
All right.
I think that's about the most I got of it. I could continue to go on, but what'd you think about The Weeknd? I thought The Weeknd, movie, the character The Weeknd.
What character The Weeknd?
In the club that his girlfriend's like hidden on. She's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe you're so hard."
Is that
right
a person? Is that a real person?
Yeah.
Like a real artist?
Yeah. That's The Weeknd. The Weeknd.
I have no idea who the fuck that was. I was like, I don't know who this motherfucker is.
You know the guy The Weeknd though, right?
Wait, is that not the guy The Weeknd that was in the movie?
That was.
Yeah, I don't know him.
You know his music.
What is he? Maybe if you sang something, but I don't know what.
You can almost. The problem I have with The Weeknd is that he got so big that every one of his songs
sound
different. They now sound the same to me. So
because they all sound the same.
It's like being sick of like something that's really good.
Really?
Yeah. It's like waking up every morning and having like a really amazing buttered croissant stuffed with chocolate. But after like the 300th morning, you're like, okay, I really like go for some eggs right now.
I mean, I know the name The Weeknd. I know the name. I can't tell you one song that I can attribute to his, but I know I've heard some of his music.
Yeah, I'll be playing it right now.
For me, that didn't impress.
songs.
Like that portion of the movie didn't impress me because I know that I knew that this guy was a to-do, but because I don't know him, I didn't care. I was just like, so what?
Yeah. So it was just a frustrating experience for you.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit because I kept checking my watch. I was like, fuck, how much longer is this movie?
Oh, God.
That's
a really bad time.
Dead ass.
You're not gonna like Good Time then. Well, you might like it more
because I don't think either one of these pictures are bad films. They're really well done. I was just like, I was bored to death because I didn't care about the title character.
Yeah.
If I'd cared an iota about this gambler degenerate motherfucker, I'd have been in. But I was like, this dude's a piece of shit. Why are we even telling his story?
Yeah.
He's gonna get shot in the end. That's literally what I said. Like halfway through, they're gonna shoot him in the end.
I thought he was gonna get shot in like the first 5 minutes. So I was like,
there's no way. Like when they pull him into the car, and they're like, and he's like, "What are you doing?" And I was like, "You should shut up talking because by all right, they should murder you and drop your body, bro." But they just take all of his clothes and leave him in the trunk of his car.
Because his brother-in-law is still trying to not take it to that end. And that's his brother. That's Eric Bogosian's fault.
I think Bogosian.
That's his downfall.
Bogosian for me was a standout in this film.
So good.
Bogosian for me was a standout in this
Give me Bogosian everything.
Anytime, anywhere. Bogosian should have been nominated for this.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like Bogosian's performance was enough, and he didn't even like his scenes were. He didn't have a lot of dialogue. It's very few, but he has a. I felt him. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yes.
He's almost in like the place of the audience.
That's what I feel like. I feel like he was the true hero of this story. I was like, that's the dude I want to know more about. Like the motherfucker, like who's like,
oh come
on, he's my brother-in-law, but come on, fam, you're fucking this up for me.
Yeah,
you should be in the ground. If this was any other person that wasn't related to me, you'd be in the fucking ground.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So. Anyway.
This is how I win.
Uncut Gems.
Anyway, Bad Boys 2.
Oh, no. I'll edit that out. Don't worry.
Yeah, please.
I got you.
Bad Boys for life.
Bad Boys 2. Is it better than Bad Boys 2?
Oh, it's this.
I heard this was the best one.
This was the best one.
Yeah.
This felt like the grown up. You know how like all these kind of like progress. This felt like a grown up bookend to what the previous two were.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to see this with you. That's why when it came out, I gave it to you on the first day. I said, pick a time.
Pick a day. But yeah, I was stuck with kids.
And then the next day, I was like, pick a time. I'm going.
You know, because like I hope you didn't think I was shitting on the movie.
It felt a little bit like.
It's definitely like a movie that I will watch. on my couch. Awesome. You know what I mean?
And it will do well. Black people love this movie.
Yeah. Okay. Do you see it with a black audience?
Yeah.
You saw it at Court, right?
Yeah, I saw it at Court. So yeah. You know those.
I know Court.
Yeah. So yeah, but this
if
is
you don't know,
well.
if you're in New York, and this probably applies a lot of places, but you can pick what kind of experience you want, determining by which movie theater you go to.
The demographic will definitely sort of sire your viewership a little bit. But yeah, I saw it down there at Court, and it was awesome.
Get me the fuck out of this car. Mike, we got more time behind us than in front.
Man, please. I'm going to be running down criminals till I'm 100.
Not me. I'm retiring. What happened to Bad Boys for Life?
It's time we be good men.
It's Bad Boys for Life.
Who the fuck wants to sing that song?
If you like Martin, if you like Will Smith, if you liked any of those previous Bad, you didn't even have to like both of them. If you liked one of them, you're gonna love this one. They throw throwbacks to like the previous ones. They have these moments that are like, oh my god, I can't believe they did that moments. It's very, very good. It's basically the culmination of those three films where you go from seeing these guys as cops, young cops, to sort of like in their like coming out of their leaving their prime sort of thing, and then this one is like, we're old guys now.
It's been 20. It's been 18 years.
We're old cops now, and
essentially they basically like from Kanye West's Gold Digger song. They had a baby. They paid for like 18 years of support, and then found out that baby wasn't in. That's how long this took.
A little bit
from Bad Boys 2 to.
And it's everybody comes back for this. So like there's throwback, like there's characters you see from like the first one.
Did you watch the other ones going into this one?
No, I didn't.
Prep?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I didn't because I know those movies so well. I own both of them on DVD at the house. Like
nice.
Like the Téa Leoni for me is, in that first one, I was in love with her. She was so beautiful to me in that, like that dark-haired, blue-eyed thing. I was like, oh my god, she's so gorgeous. Cut to version 2 was a very much kind of like it very much kind of had the sensibility of Miami at the height of its ecstasy,
right?
Bent. So like
multiple Hummers,
like you like there's that one. I remember like the top. There's a scene where like people are doing Molly in the club, but the camera work goes through like a duct and comes out, and then it does this kind of like Fast and the Furious weird stuff. This one takes all of that away. It's okay. It's very
different
simple.
Directors. Michael Bay directed the first two.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and these are different people. I'll look up what they've done, but
this one felt for me like two old cats coming to the realization that we're going to book in this franchise, although they're not, because the way that it ends, I feel like if they haven't already greenlit a Bad Boys 4, they're going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll see how this one performs financially.
I feel like it's going to crush.
So far, it's $90 million budget, which is not a huge amount of budget. 106, so it's about halfway there so far, and hasn't really hit international yet. So it'll probably be fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to crush. Because it's good. It's a good send off to both these characters that we've had a fair amount of time to be with. And Will and Martin together, it's that same sort of like dynamic you get from the first one, except now that they're old.
So the two guys that directed it, the following movie after this is coming, Beverly Hills Cop 4.
So these guys did Beverly Hills Cop 4?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So if you like this, probably that's good news for Beverly Hills Cop 4.
I think it is. I think it is. I think this will be good news for this franchise. It's really well done.
Does Michael Shannon come back? Because isn't he like a redneck in the?
No, he doesn't.
Does he die in the second one? I can't remember.
He doesn't. He's a white supremacist that they beat up and put in the trunk of a car.
18 years later, he's not playing those roles anymore.
He's just in Knives Out playing the exact same role.
Yeah, exactly. But not as a white supremacist. He's like, I'm not touching that shit now. Fuck that. It's 2020, baby.
He does try to intimidate old girl with money or whatever. I don't know. That's a little white supremacy to me.
It is.
A little give the money back to the fam.
Yeah. Oh, he's still slimy in Knives Out for sure. Because he's good at that shit. Does the plot matter to this movie?
Yeah, not really. It's a Michael Bay film. It hits all the check mark notes of it. The most notable thing that you should know about it is Will Smith's character takes a hit in the first couple minutes of the film.
Yeah.
like a bad one, like,
Okay.
which kind of goes against what has happened prior in the couple. Like he's always been the bulletproof cop up until this point in the film, which goes to the idea that maybe he's lost a step and that kind of thing. So
he's getting old.
Yeah.
How old do they say he is in the movie?
They never bring it up. They never bring it up. But like the banter between these two motherfuckers is great.
I love Martin Lawrence.
I do too, and he's a standout here. He damn near steals it.
Yeah.
In the way that he damn near steals.
What happened to Martin Lawrence?
He made his money. He made his money.
I know that, but
and he didn't have to work for a while.
Oh, by the way, Dolomite was in theaters.
It was.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can probably still find it in theaters in certain places.
Oh wow. Okay.
But yeah, it was in theaters. Sorry.
Okay.
Go ahead. I didn't want to.
But no, I didn't realize it had been.
What happened to Martin Lawrence?
I mean, after he got
Eyes.
after that incident with the being naked in traffic, screaming and craziness, he kind of took a back seat and back burner for a little bit. As far
I didn't hear
as
about
work.
that.
You didn't hear about? Yeah, like one of the major things that kind of happened that kind of I think slowed him down for a while was he was high on something and got caught in traffic, like waving a gun around and screaming obscenities, like wiling. He was wiling out on the streets of L.A. and they came and carted him off and gave some cover story about him being overworked or some shit, and then he kind of just fell off the planet for a little bit. I guess I don't know, deal with whatever issues got him to the point where he was waving a gun around in the middle of the streets naked.
Apparently, he's in Beach Bum, Harmony Korine's movie.
The one with McConaughey.
Yeah, McConaughey. Yeah, which I haven't seen yet, but I love Harmony Korine, so I'll definitely check that out again.
But yeah, I think he fell off the planet after that, and I think got well, started eating because he's
looking thick. Yeah, he's
in this.
really good.
Like Will looks exactly the way Will looks from that first Bad Boys movie.
Sure.
He looks like they have a joke where like he's like yo, Martin's like, yo, I know you're dyeing your beard now, bro.
Yeah.
I mean, you're using that cocoa or whatever, and he's like, what are you talking about? And then after he gets shot, there's a scene where he's in the hospital, he's laid up, and Martin is
doing his beard. I'm sorry I didn't see this with you. I feel bad.
I wanted to do. When you want to see, I'll see it with you. I'll see it again.
Bad.
It's good enough for me to see it again in the theater. I'll spend that money.
But you also worked
that.
a lot this week, so you were like, I need to just sit down. I need to see something.
I work a lot this week too. That's why I'm like, I'll go again, but we gotta plan it.
Yeah, plan. Okay.
This is one I wanted to see with you because there's literally a sentiment that happens at the top of this movie between Martin and Will, and I was like, yep. Yeah, this is me. I was like, this is me and Larry right here.
Yeah.
I was like, this is me and Larry. I was like, you ain't gonna do this thing I'm asking you to do this with me, and you're not gonna do it. Like, there's a sentiment that they share, and I'm like, this is me and fucking Larry right here, like all the way, because Martin's character is the married guy with the family or whatever, and Will's character is the still solo for Dolo out there running and gunning and just needing to get back in the game. It's great.
Okay,
it's great. If you, I highly recommend if you ain't got shit to do and you want to laugh for a couple hours, and honestly, I know you were saying like, oh, I can't take the girls to this film.
Yeah,
I feel like they could have seen this film hands down. And I mean, granted, there are some moments that are, a little. You see a guy fall out of a window and shit, but
I'm not worried about that
But
stuff.
I mean, they fucking saw a Logan with Shar Shar, and this is nowhere even near what that is.
It's less violence and more cultural situations, and maybe
I think this one was okay. This one, like, because
you never know until you see him.
It's mad. Like, the family aspect of it is so ingrained in these movies because you basically grown up with everybody. Like the characters playing Martin's family are still the characters playing Martin's family. There's a scene in that second movie where the boyfriend comes to pick up Martin's daughter for a date. He's in this one as like
Joey Pantoliano is in this.
Joey Pants is phenomenal in this.
Yeah.
He has one of the better moments in the movie where you're like, fuck Joey Pants.
Joey Pants is the shit, man.
Fuck Joey Pants. So yeah, go
Paula
see
Nunes.
it. Go see it. It's. I'll see it. I'll see it again.
Okay.
I'll see it again.
All right. Cool.
So, Slave Play.
I would see Slave Play again.
Okay. For the price point that you paid for it?
No, I paid nothing for it. So yes, actually,
Okay.
answer is yes. So the way My general rule with theater is, like, if it's going to be a Broadway show...
Nothing over $50.
And disclaimer, I should have seen this when it was at New York Theater Workshop. I should have seen it. I was having a kind of like a bummer, depressed moment, and every time I would go see theater at that time, it would remind me of all of my failures. And so I kind of, like, for a year just didn't see theater.
No shit.
Yeah, because it was just depressing me.
Like, in what way? Like, it reminded you, like, how are you a failure by watching theater standard?
Multiple ways. I'm a failure because I can't write the thing that I'm seeing on the stage, or I believe that I can't write the thing that I'm seeing on stage.
That's more apt because you can.
In the case of Slave Play, I can't write that thing, but for a lot of different plays, you know, it's just like, it's hard to explain.
Is it like an envy thing? You're like, you see somebody doing something that...
It's not envy. It's more of a reminder of wasted potential that I believe that I have. Like I should just get off my ass and I should just knock out a draft of a play in like a month. I should like do all these different things. And the thing is, like, theater really inspires me. So every piece of theater I see, I saw Beetlejuice on Broadway before it closed about a month ago, and that inspired me. So every little bit inspires me, but it can also remind me of things that I think are failures, even though I intellectually I understand that where I'm at and why I'm in this position.
So it's just dumb male brain shit.
Yes.
So your dumb male brain shit has got you on some other stuff.
Of course.
Okay.
I should have 100% seen this play before because I had this very pseudo friendly friendship with Jeremy O. Harris,
right?
Who I've not seen since
who is the author of this play, Slave Play, that's on Broadway.
Exactly.
So just for our listeners who don't know. This, you know, I don't even know the trajectory of this play because I only found out about it a couple months ago when the writer got confronted at a talkback by this white woman who went and saw it and triggered her in this talkback to sort of stand up and like start yelling at the stage.
Essentially, what she said to him in the middle during the talkback is, "How is your play not racist towards white people?"
Right.
That's a lot to unpack. I want to sidebar that.
Well, all right. I mean, you want to? We can come back.
At least talk about the play. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, give us this because I kind of know the synopsis.
Right.
Are you going to spoil it for people a little bit?
I think so because I think from what I just read, I think it just closed. So it ran for almost a year and a month, and it just closed. From what I understand.
Okay.
If I find out that it is not closed, that it's still open, we're going to take some of the Patreon money and get you a ticket and send you to go see it. Because the last thing that really this play deserves is for a white guy to be explaining it to a black guy.
Well,
I mean, that's like...
Well, just give me the synopsis. You don't got to explain me, because I feel like I'll get it.
So please don't ask me any of the larger... My white fragility here is getting a little...
So, Larry, as
intense, huh?
As one of the Supremes...
Right. Well, this is a play that... towards the 3/4 mark, basically compares white people to a virus and directly confronts the idea of white supremacy in the fact that we're living in a white supremacist society right now, which is not things that like you and I have never discussed,
right?
But to hear it on a Broadway stage, you can hear how excited I am.
Yeah, I mean, family, this motherfucker was stoked to see this shit.
No, to see it, I wasn't. It's just like anything. If you're going to sit down and watch, and it's a different experience for you,
right.
But for me, if you're going to sit down and watch something hard, you're going to watch a play about the Holocaust, or you're going to sit down and watch Schindler's List, like, you're not going into it thinking, oh my God, this is going to be fucking amazing.
Right.
And I didn't know anything about Slave Play. I actually I figured I would see it, so every time information or reviews came up about it, I heard that it was really well received, but I didn't want to know anything about the plot, about what it is. So the idea is that it opens with... a couple. Actually, it's a black woman on the ground, like kind of dressed in like antebellum slave period garments, cleaning the floor, and then slowly Rihanna's woke song, "Awake" or whatever. Is that the name of the song? Work, dun 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 dun. Work. Not woke. Work. Right. Work. Along the top, by the way, is a quote that says, "Nobody touched me, you not righteous," which is from that song. Nobody touched me in the right. Okay. I didn't know at the time that was from the Rihanna song. I looked it up later and found that. But it's right there in huge, like stainless steel brick illuminated letters. So it's an important aspect of what the play is. I haven't unlocked exactly what that means. I have a theory, but I don't know if I want to say it on the podcast because I haven't really thought it out that well. But so anyway, so she's in there and Rihanna's song comes on and she starts like kind of twerking on the ground while cleaning this floor, and then like a white slave master walks in
Okay.
But something's off about it. You don't know what it is. At first you think, is this just not very good? Because it's interesting, the scenario, but you don't know what it is because their accents sound off. There's something about the way that they're acting just feels off to you. But then it slowly starts to become kind of sexual. And the slave girl is into the slave master. Mm-hmm. He makes a point during that moment to be like, I'm not actually your master. I'm just like the guy who's in charge of...
Overseer.
Oh, overseer. I'm an overseer, but I don't have that money. You know what I mean? You're like, that's interesting and strange.
Okay.
So they sort of start kind of like making out, and then it kind of cuts to the second vignette. Second vignette is a white woman dressed in not period garb, but it's like kind of BDSM, bondage stuff. Right. And then her sort of like kind of black slave comes in. And she wants him to play something on the violin, some of that Negro music. You know what I mean? To kind of like get her in the mood. She then about 10 minutes later of them sort of sexually foreplaying, doing things, she pulls out like a clearly non-period dildo and kind of fucks him in the ass.
Wow, this happens on stage.
Kind
That's
of.
awesome.
Ask me about yes, this happens on stage. This is the point where my wife leans over to me and she's like, "This is not what I expected." and I was like, well,
was she fanning herself in their program while she said that shit?
My pearls.
This is not all.
No, she said excited because I think she had a similar experience to like what probably me and a lot of people do, which is like, we're gonna go see Schindler's List. Get ready. You know what I mean? And then to find out that it's not that is really exciting. So now we're like, okay, where is this going? What is going to happen? Cuts to a third vignette, and it's two guys, black guy and a white guy. The white guy's an indentured servant. Now the black guy is the one in power.
Okay.
Right? And so it's sort of about their sexual dynamic together.
So is this a play about sex?
It is, absolutely.
It's a play about sex in relationship to interracial relationships.
Yes. And I would say specifically about power dynamics.
I see.
Right?
I see.
So hard cut from that, lights up, and we're in... kind of like a kind of a blank room. There's mirrors on the back of the stage, so as you're watching it, you're really watching yourself. Yeah, which is that's not the first time that's been done, but that's really interesting to see, especially when you're looking out and it's all of
especially when you're talking about a play that deals with race and power dynamics and shit like that.
And what's the audience makeup on Broadway? White dudes and ladies. And so
fascinating.
So then suddenly you get all three of those couples together, and they're dressed in normal 2020 period garments.
It now the play now jumps to the present. And these people are all neighbors, ostensibly people that we all kind of like share.
They're people you could run into any day on New York streets.
Okay.
All interracial couples.
Okay.
And they're there participating in antebellum slave play. Because what you find out is all of the black members of these couples have lost interest in their partners sexually. That's kind of dumbing it down a little bit, but that's the idea. And so their white partners have agreed, or in the case of the white woman who kind of has sex with the black guy with the dildo, she has brought him here to this to help him figure out, why he can't come or get an erection or whatever their
whatever
sexual
the lack
hang-ups.
of attraction is between them two. This is
Exactly.
their figuring out how to fix that shit.
Yeah, exactly.
This sounds fascinating. I mean, I don't even really want to know any more than that. I mean, that's enough. That has garnered enough of the interest.
Yes.
So, like, how do we get from what you're describing to a white woman standing up in the talkback and being like, this play is racist against white people, yada, yada, yada?
Well, ignorance is how she got there.
Okay. But this is New York.
Yes. I don't know how the fuck she got to New York and why she... That's the major question that's going around about this woman is, why would she come to see this play and not expect some version of this? Because one of the conclusions that... And I mentioned this earlier, but that one of the black girls, because we end in this penultimate scene. Well, actually, I won't tell you that. No. Yeah. But one of the conclusions that one of the characters comes to is that white people are a virus, and that they've infected the world, particularly this character.
You know what's interesting?
What?
Just that terminology throws my brain to the moment in The Matrix where Agent Smith has captured Morpheus.
That's why we're friends.
And he's sitting in the chair, and he's explaining to Morpheus how he attributes humanity, and I mean
that's the first Matrix.
That's the first Matrix, Agent Smith, and he's like, humanity's a virus.
Yeah.
Now,
take that and apply it to race.
Right. Now, if you're talking about it like that, who for the better part of human civilization has been the dominant human race. So who would you put parenthetically at the top of that list of
absolutely white males, specifically British white males, and that is the character that she's saying, or he or she or whoever's saying it to this other person.
Okay,
yeah,
for sure.
Very well done in that sense.
Sure.
There's almost, but what is so fascinating about this play on Broadway to me, beyond all of the race stuff, is that the first couple sections are actually a little messy.
Interesting.
Like, it doesn't
what do you
feel...
mean, like writing mess?
Yeah, it doesn't feel, in a good way, it doesn't feel like a Broadway play. You know, so it's important because of all the race and the representation and the things discussed within the play, but it's also important because it's taking this messiness of an off-Broadway or even an off-Broadway
so like chaos,
risky play.
Like we're taking so are they taking like the chaos elements of, say, Uncut Gems, like we were just talking about? And kind
exactly. It is not a polished gem, even though, and it shouldn't be.
Because when you're discussing race and when you're discussing supremacy, it's not going to be clean cut and
I'm sure somebody smarter than me could break down the play into a single idea of what it's about, but I think that actually limits it. To me, a large portion of what the play was about was the examination of the role that race plays on sexual dynamics, or even for me and you, on our friendship dynamic, white versus black. If we can go deep enough down into our motivations for when we first met and why we first met each other. I don't remember. Thankfully, I don't either, because what this play sort of wants to tell you is that it's all based and potentially being controlled and manipulated by race.
Interesting.
And understanding all of that knowledge may in fact ruin our relationship.
Do you think this play, because it sounds like what we're talking about here is sort of an American bent, do you think that the issues that this play brings up would work, say, on a London stage or places that like because what it sounds like you're describing is something like inherently American, but maybe not necessarily.
It would absolutely function on a London stage for sure.
Well, because, for lack of better, London is sort of pre-American.
It might even be better on a London stage.
Slave play, like that. Yeah. Like I'm thinking slave play in the West End now, and I'm like,
there's things I want to say, but it gives away sections of the play about why it would be even better.
Right,
but it might even be better on a London stage with that audience. But the truth is,
shout out to Spalding.
Yeah, Spalding, England.
Yo, Spalding, yo, put it in their ear, yo.
Some of our biggest listeners.
Put it in their ear, yo.
It's great. Shout out to Jeremy O. Harris.
Word.
Really like a fascinating
congratulations,
job.
homie. Really,
he used to come to supper, and he would have like conversations with me about, and they would inevitably lead to sexual points about like, and I was very open about my, with him specifically, because it's not on mic, about my sexual history with my wife and some of like those things. We're not like of the makeup of what this play is, but she's still a person of color.
Right.
I'm still white. We still have a very interesting dynamic sexually. It's probably some things I haven't even talked to you about, because like I don't know if you want to hear about my sexual things with my wife.
I feel like I've seen your dick.
Right.
2, I feel like I know almost all the women you've been with, at least starting at that.
I think you have probably known all of them.
At least starting at that age where you're doing it regularly with motherfuckers. So I feel like if it hasn't come up, it probably will. We're pretty free about talking about shit like that. In fact, there's some shit I need to tell you, but that'll be an off-mic conversation.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I mean...
Yeah, if you want to hear about any of that stuff, talk to me off mic. I'll give you some more details, buddy. Don't worry. But anyways, so yeah, I thought, it was wonderful for me to like come back. Like the last time I saw Jeremy, he knew this play was going to New York Theater Workshop, but it hadn't gotten there yet. So he was still working on it, still writing it. He was up at Yale, and then went there, and he just blew up. He did a Rami Malek, man. Even faster than Rami.
Took a trajectory.
Yeah, because Rami was really working it for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, Rami basically left UE, went back to LA, started hit the ground running. I mean, I think the first thing I remember seeing him on was The War at Home with Michael Rappaport.
Still took 22 years. You know what I mean? Jeremy shot from like, which this does not like in any way minimize like his accomplishments, but he shot from I'm going to Yale, I have some plays, and I read some Absurdo plays, and they're all like this. They all have
race elements to them.
Yeah, race elements. Another play called Daddy, featured around the father figure song by George Michael. I will be your father figure.
Don't know.
Put your little hand in mine.
Is George Michael a gay man?
Oh yeah. Right. Very gay. And last thing, before we move on, Jeremy Harris co-wrote a movie that's coming out called Zola, which is going to be distributed by A24. same company that distributed Uncut Gems, as well as Good Time, as well as a ton of other movies like
I know
Hereditary,
that company,
Midsommar. Yeah,
I recognize that moniker from it's recent. They've gotten some shit recently that's been popping off.
Oh, I know what I want to ask you. I want to talk about the sex in this play, like the actual portrayal of sex in this play.
So that happens a lot in this play.
It does, but it's still that theater version of sex,
right,
where we get a little bit of some things, but we never really get like the two gay men. One of them like grabs the other's crotch. Mm-hmm. He puts his hand down his pants at one point, but we never. We do get full frontal nudity, but we never actually see a sexual act taking place.
Okay,
and I don't know where I fall on this.
What's bringing you to this? Like,
because the play is so risky when in its.
So you would have liked them to have gone the route of like showing penetration.
No, I don't know. Maybe. Yeah, kind of.
That ticket is going to be way more expensive, bruh.
I don't know, man.
That's way more expensive.
I get locked up on the idea of why we're so hung up on showing sexual acts on stage.
Because this country was based on fucking Puritans, bro. That's why. Like, we're still... Like, you saw what happened a few years ago when fucking Janet Jackson's titty fell out on network television.
Exactly.
Motherfuckers lost their minds.
You go over to England, London, where they could also mount this plane and be very successful. You watch a shampoo commercial, there's a boobie on the shampoo commercial.
Okay, granted, this is also coming from the same society that was Victorian, buttoned up, don't talk about kind of shit. So the fact that they've progressed that far is just they've been around longer. Yeah. Like they've understood that look, not that big a fucking deal. It's just America being the teenage prudes that we are. Like, America was founded by like people who wanted more restrictions. Like the Puritans, they came over because they wanted the Church of England wasn't strict enough for them.
Yeah.
That's who started this motherfucker. Yeah. We want more restrictions in our religion. These are the pointy hat, full garb, black in the summertime motherfuckers. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So issues now with sex, I overstand.
Yeah. But don't you think we're ready for another sexual revolution?
We're ready, but the white people ain't yet.
That's true.
That's who's responsible for allowing that shit to pop off.
We'll
it's the older white motherfuckers who just need to die a little bit more.
It's true.
Die a little bit more.
And
I feel like
true,
they're
guys.
on the outs. They're on the outs. I feel like by the time we're them, we'll be just dick out, titties out. It'll just be like ridiculousness.
I really hope so. There's so many sexual hang-ups.
I mean, if not for my house, if my house was like clear, if I lived in a glass house, it'd be dick and ball show all day.
I'll come over for that. Not to witness, but to be witnessed.
I don't know, man. I think it'll go old after a while. Like if your house was clear, if people could see into your motherfucker, I think just in the fact that we're talking about the puritanical basis of this country, everybody would be in like full length parkas, capes. Mm-hmm. Everybody would be wearing capes indoors because you could see through your house.
Yeah. We should get capes.
I'm bringing that shit back.
So we'll move on. The last thing I want to say about this is I feel like there could be, like, whatever his next play is, because I feel like I don't know, man. I feel like he wants to go there sexually, but I feel like Broadway's, that's not the place to do it.
I disagree.
It would be great if it did.
I disagree. I think Broadway needs to be shaken up. I think for a long time, Broadway used to be a vehicle for the great American story, like your man Jeremy's right now, which I feel like is part and parcel to what the John Steinbecks used to write, what the Clifford Odets used to write, like the golden age of what Broadway used to be, where you could, even though they were almost across the board white stories, they were also very human and dealing with the shit that was going on at the time.
Right.
Broadway has long since departed from that and become sort of a vehicle for fuckery and monetization of some shit that doesn't need to be monetized. So any time there's a bastion, like anytime there's a play on Broadway that shakes up the status quo or goes against what has become the norm for Broadway, I'm gonna raise a flag and tout it and shout it from the parapets, especially when the representation is there.
Yeah.
Especially when it holds up literally a mirror to the audience to be like, this is what good theater it's supposed to do. Hold up a mirror to reflect society and show us that while we are all different, we're all still the fucking same.
Yeah. So what do you think? What is the reason that you think that you didn't see this play?
I'm poor.
Yes.
I'm poor?
Yeah.
I'm poor.
Yeah. And that goes to my rule. Like I won't pay. Like I won't pay more than $50 for a theater ticket.
Not out of my own pocket. If I get a hookup, then
and that's what I got was a hookup, and that's why I went to see it. Yeah.
Okay.
Real quick, Louis C.K. apparently just saw this on Broadway and he got scolded by Jeremy O. Harris, who commented.
Got scolded?
Scolded. Jeremy O. Harris, the play's 30-year-old author. He's only 30, man. 9 years younger than us. This is Wednesday night, and he tweeted, did Louis C.K. jack off in my audience tonight?
Nice.
You can't escape it, Louis.
Well played.
You like to masturbate in front of women, and that's not appropriate. And it's not fine. It's not. Masturbation's fine. That's fine. Making young interns watch it.
Making them. If I start and you're staying in the room. That's me though, because I'm me. I don't have any power. Like if
that's
I
you. That's true. That's true.
And you stay in the room, you want to see me do that shit.
When Dave Chappelle says it, then I'm like, I don't know, Dave. Listen,
I don't know, Dave.
I might hang around and watch you masturbate if I think it's going to help me get on that writing team.
Actually, no. I feel like.
Are you kidding?
I mean, see, but we're different. See, I feel like if I'm watching any woman that I'm attracted to masturbate to do anything, I'm staying around.
Yes.
I don't even care. But if it's a dude's like the way that Dave Chappelle's like, yo, man, that's mad unprofessional, dog. Like, I don't care if you masturbate, but yo, this is a meeting, dog. Come on, what you doing?
Absolutely.
Put your dick away.
And the context of the systemic racism context is what that woman did not understand. She didn't understand any of that. In her mind,
are you talking about
the crazy white woman who stood up? Yeah.
I don't want to hear that white people are the fucking plague. Because you're talking rape, false arrest, fucking having children taken away, and being told that as a single woman I'm not good enough to fucking raise them. How the fuck am I not a fucking marginalized member of this goddamn society?
We haven't said you are. I've never once said that you as a white woman are not a marginalized person, but if you heard that in my play, I don't know what to tell you. Perhaps read it or see it again.
I was trying to give her one of those Barbecue Becky kind of names. Let's see.
Talking Tammy.
Tammy Talkback?
That's what he called her.
Wait, that's what he called her?
In the middle of the thing, yeah. Which,
okay, well,
funny.
Zeitgeist.
And she's there throwing a fit, you know what I mean? She also later used that as he was insulting me. I was just asking him how his play was not racist to white people.
Okay.
Called her Tammy Talkback.
Fam, if you haven't, well, after the fact though, right? After the fact.
After the play. After she paid the money for it.
Well, no, he called her Tammy Talkback after she, lambasted him in this talkback.
Well, after she made the entire talkback about her as well.
Right. That's so, of course, Tammy Talkback. That wasn't like, he made, anyway, let's...
We can go on forever.
Yeah, I know.
Because podcast about this.
Honestly, fam, this is the last thing I'm going to say about it. I feel like if you haven't seen at least the video of this white woman losing her shit in this theater talkback, go and watch that, because it's not so much for her losing her shit, but the commentary of people recording it.
Yeah,
the one woman was like, "This is the best day of my life."
Yes. She's like, "'Cause of you, dumbass."
I was like, she's the best day of your life. Jesus.
But it also that just shows you that we're. This is the last thing I'll say. We're living in two different societies. Right, I came up with this long thought. I was listening to a podcast about the Irishman, and they talked about how these guys made deals with the devils, and that put me on this thought process.
What guys made deals?
The Irishman, not the Irishman, the gangsters in the Irishman, how they made deals with the devil during blah blah blah. That's not the point. The thought that led me to was that fuck no. America made a deal with the devil back during slavery, and we are still, even though generations have passed, we are still dealing with that deal because that's how the devil works.
Well,
right?
see, this is I agree with that, but the only adaptation or alteration to that statement is we haven't dealt with it.
No.
That's part and parcel of what's happening now. Is the chickens are finally coming home to roost.
Yeah.
And so because America has never dealt with it, because America has never owned its atrocities, something we talked about on this podcast before, because it's never owned its atrocities, and because it's always been putting it off and being like, oh well, look how far we've come, because it's never owned it. Now that all the chickens are coming home to roost and people are no longer willing to just stay silent and stay complicit about it, that's where we're having all these issues.
Right.
This was inevitable.
Right.
I mean, if you were paying attention, or if you were a person of color, you saw this coming.
Right. There's also no fix to this.
I mean, Not right. Not
there's steps in the right direction.
There's no. I won't say there's no fix. There's no immediate fix. Which I think in our society we come to this. Everything is so immediate with us. Like we get things. We get Amazon to drop shit on our doorstep. Like
right
I got
now. A package is supposed to come.
You know what I'm saying?
Minute now.
But
just ordered.
But
it.
we're so used to this immediacy and thing. But I think that's also a boon and a non-boon for America, because America as a country has one of the best histories of change so quickly. Like America, like our history, like something happens, something ... and then a change will happen. Our country has changed so much in some of the shortest time that it almost makes sense that we can find a fix and it would be immediate, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
Especially when you're dealing with a situation as complex as this one, where we don't talk about it, where we refuse to talk about, where the
we
people
live in two societies. We have a society which I think is, I'm not going to put you in the same society as me, but I think we're in the same language, the same context. We can at least say systemic racism and have a concept of what that is. We can say you can't
working poor.
We can say that as a person of color, you cannot be racist, and we can understand what that means. Right? That woman, she doesn't understand that. That's a different language that she lives in America, in a different, almost a different society.
Right.
And so we're trying to get that society to understand where our perspective is.
Well, it seems like for the first time, people are getting the shakeup. I think that's necessary.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're dealing with uncomfortable subject matter, it has to be fucking uncomfortable for somebody to understand.
Yeah.
Because it's not my job to hip white people to their own ignorance, to the or blindness to what is the plight of the brown motherfucker that's next to them.
And that was essentially his reaction to her. Mm-hmm. Was like
it's not on me.
This was for you,
right?
As much as you don't think this play is for and because of you, amongst a lot of other people as well. You know what I mean? But it's not his job to sit there and be like, let me explain to you systemic racism.
It is no black person's job. I'll say it is no black person's job to put hip white folk on the issues that they have to deal with.
Right.
It's not on us.
We have Broadway plays to do that. Spend $150 a ticket.
Spend $150 and then take your wife.
Listen, just the experience of sitting with all of these white people that you're unsure of where they believe and how they believe it.
Worth it.
No joke. Totally worth
it.
That's why those mirrors are there. You can watch them.
Worth it. Should we move on? I'm going to talk a little bit about it. I don't want to go too much because we already reviewed this on the podcast. I saw Terminator Dark Fate recently, and I loved it.
You loved it, yeah.
I loved it.
I'm going to watch it again tonight with my wife.
I thought it was right in the pocket of what those first two movies were.
Yeah.
I loved that it was an entirely female cast. I loved that the only male castmates were both the Terminators.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it should have been more successful based on the formula.
But they screwed us over with all those other Terminator movies that people are like, this is going to suck.
This is gonna, and I think they did. Suck. It didn't. One thing. So if you watch a Terminator movie, you know there's a few things going to happen. There's going to be some kind of mega car chase with a big vehicle.
Yep.
There's going to be some sort of plane or helicopter.
Plane sequence was good.
Fucking insanely good.
Yep.
And there's going to be some sort of showdown where you see a Terminator versus either another Terminator or a Terminator versus a human person. Mm-hmm. And every single one of those things were off the chain phenomenal.
Yep.
And then they threw on the story where that first moment of the movie where John gets killed.
Yeah.
It took me back. I was like, wait, what? That's the jumping off point for this? And it was brilliant because it invested me in wanting to know what the fuck is going on. And then cut to here we are. They leave her story alone.
Yeah.
That's how it starts. And they leave her completely out of it. Actually, no, I lied. It starts with that, the movie starts with the videotape of her from the second one when she's talking to the psychiatrist in the insane asylum, where she's telling him about the visions of Judgment Day and how everybody's gonna burn and that emotional
from the second movie.
It's in
the second movie.
Yes.
And I watched that with my kids sort of recently.
Anybody who doesn't have 1 million SPF is gonna burn.
And she's good.
She is so good. Yeah. And you take that Linda Hamilton and you bring her full circle to start this movie right at that point. Yeah. Boom. Yeah. I was with this movie from start to finish. all of it's good.
I think it's a better movie to see at home, to be quite honest.
Really?
With low expectations, because then it becomes better. If you went in,
I wish I'd seen this in the theater. There was parts of it that I wanted, like that the movie, the plane sequence.
Yeah.
I wish I'd seen that 80 feet tall with the surround and whatever, because it was incredible.
Good. It was good. Yeah,
incredible.
I don't think we'll get another one. 196 million.
I don't think we will either. But it
261 million.
This movie was the Terminator that we had been waiting on since that second one, and
I think so too. Yeah,
and we had been and I told you all the elements were there for this to be the Terminator movie we wanted.
Yes,
and it was, in my opinion, it was.
Right. Alternative timeline for
alternative
Terminator's
timeline,
sake,
in which they do a good job of explaining how we get there.
I was going to put a colon in there. My alternative timeline is we don't get Terminator 3, that piece of crap.
Right.
We don't get Terminator Salvation, which is okay. We don't get Terminator Genesis.
Right.
So we have about 20 years.
Right.
And then this movie comes out. This would have been a huge hit.
Yes. I agree. I agree. I think if those couple of Terminator movies in between 1 and 2 hadn't been made, this one would have killed. This one would have broken. In the same way that second one broke all those records when it came out, because it had been 20 years since the first one, it would have killed. But yeah, so I saw that. It was awesome.
You want to talk about Bombshell now, or do you want to talk about AJ?
I think we talked a little bit about Bombshell last time.
Right.
It's a fantastic film. If you haven't seen it, go see it. Charlize, Margot, all the women in this dude. Actually, Nicole Kidman for me was sort of the meh version of it for me. But Margot does a phenomenal job, and fucking Charlize is Charlize. So, and as I said in the previous episode, I really like this movie, except for the fact that it paints Megyn Kelly in a very sympathetic light, and I don't think a person like Megyn Kelly should be painted anything other than what she is. And
she's still racist, conservative,
unsympathetic,
Republican.
Racist Republican. Yeah. That's what she is.
Right.
So. I'm sorry. Yeah. I mean, I know I don't know. I know I'm making broad judgment claims, but you don't get to get on TV and say the shit that you say, being as smart as you are, knowing that.
Exactly.
I'm sorry. You just don't.
You're exploiting shit for that.
I can't.
And you're making money off of that.
And that's if you know me, you know that shit is not gonna fly. What else were you into? I got a couple more.
Well, we talked about last episode. Finished Fallen Order.
Right.
You know what? I watched The Lighthouse.
Well, speak a little about that, because I had heard great things about it. I haven't seen it yet. It's a black and white film with Robert Pattinson, who's been, I feel like, slowly making the rounds, slowly but surely, like, becoming a much better actor than I feel like he's been.
Yeah, so he, this is by the same guy that did The Witcher. I'm trying to pull up his name here. Or not The Witcher, excuse me.
Oh, motherfucker.
Who did The Witch.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Right. Let me just pull them right here. And 2019. Yeah, so it's black and white. It's filmed in sort of the 1.19:1 aspect ratio, right?
Uh-huh.
It's directed by Robert Eggers, who co-wrote the screenplay with his brother, Max Eggers. It's oddly like kind of a homophobic fever dream. It's you take Robert Pattinson, you lock him in a
lighthouse,
not lock him, but you put him in a lighthouse where he can't leave.
Yeah, the setting is the lighthouse,
right? And so it's sort of like and then what's his face?
Defoe.
Defoe is the kind of like the father figure.
And don't they also, drink or take some sort of hallucinogenic thing that fucks with them?
So much they hallucinate. They drink so much that they're not, because that's all there is to do. Mm-hmm. But there's also this lighthouse that has this light, and when William Dafoe has a secret, he goes up and gets naked while the light is sort of shining on him and masturbate. It's very highly sexual. The reason I say homophobic is it seems like the biggest scary thing that could happen in the movie is
that they fuck each other?
Is that they would fuck each other. And to me, I'm just like, well...
That's the scary thing? Is that what the movie sort of bends?
Kind of, yes.
Okay.
It's kind of very afraid that might happen. And I'm like, actually, that would be really cool. I wish they would do that halfway through the film and then have to deal with those repercussions.
I see.
So I don't know if I'm 100% on board with the fact that it's homophobic, but it is an examination of sexuality between two heterosexual men.
In this world of lighthouse, nautical, seafaring type shit.
Yeah. Because you and I have already talked. If we were stuck on an island and there was only a lighthouse for the rest of our lives.
Top!
Bottom! You know what I mean? I'm fine. I'm cool with that. I'm not going to spend the rest of my days not fucking something. or not getting fucked.
Oh my god, you're fucking coconuts. You're fucking coconuts.
It's good though. I'd say watch it. $4 million budget, $13.5 million at the box office. He made his money back on it. Great performances for Robert Pattinson and William Dafoe.
And it's a two-hander.
Two-hander, yeah. There's one sort of like kind of a outlandish being, but that's not really a part in the movie.
Okay, all right.
I'm not giving away the ending because I think it is worth a watch. So check it out
for sure.
Yeah.
So I just finished up you know how DC's shows were doing their Crisis on Infinite Earth crossover. So
which
they
I
just,
watched none of.
Of course not. So they just aired their last 2 episodes, and I'm not going to speak too highly on them because they.
Is it worth it? At all?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Yes and no. It was worth it for because you know how they're broken up over these multiple DC. Television properties.
Yeah.
So the last 2, so they showed the first 3 parts before the end of the year, and then they just released the last 2 parts this January.
Right.
And what I will say is that the part for the Arrow, because this is the last season of Arrow allegedly, which if you look
How
at
many are there? I watched the first 3 and felt like it was just
the first 3 seasons.
Yeah.
8.
God.
This is the 8th and last season, and the Arrow is basically the kernel, the seed that jumped off the entire DC television show property.
Right, and it was good. Those first 3 seasons were positive.
I highly recommend them too. But once anyway, all that to say that there's a payoff in these episodes, but it's literally like one scene.
Right. Okay.
It's literally like. So, and this is my boy Pablo. This is my boy Pablo, because Pablo really wanted to talk about this at the time, and I hadn't seen it yet. And I remember I was watching it the other day, and I remember sending him a screenshot. I took a shot of the screen because he'd been like, "There's a couple oh shit moments that happen in the course of these 2 new things," and I was like, oh, "Okay." So I'm watching, and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I actually had an oh shit moment where, and I'll tell you It's where the Flash from the TV show meets the Flash from the movies in this moment.
Yeah. Okay. Old school Flash.
No.
Oh,
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. Yeah.
Shows
gunning
up
for the Flash movie. Hired people to write the script for him.
Oh, word?
Yeah.
Well, he shows up in this episode, and him and Flash have a conversation where he's not even called Flash. Ezra's Flash isn't even called Flash yet. So the Flash introduces himself as like, "I'm the Flash." And he's like, "Oh, that's great." And they're checking out each other's suit. He's like, "Oh, I like that. That's smooth."
I like your costume design is so much better than mine.
And then they introduce themselves like, "Hi, I'm Barry Allen." They're like, "What the?" They both have a "what the fuck" moment, and it comes out of nowhere. You're not expecting it, but it's definitely one of the moments I was like, "Yes, now you should do this for." This should be this is how all of these properties should work. There should be these little nods.
Yeah.
Except it's the only time it happens. It happens right in the middle of the episode. So. Either way. Anyway.
What about Brandon Routh's Superman character from Superman Returns?
I feel like Brandon Routh is a good actor for the hammiest shit.
Yeah.
Like,
what was that show he was in? I watched a little bit of.
What show?
It was some, like, supernatural type show.
Brandon Routh?
Yeah. You keep talking. I'll look it up.
I don't remember, because I feel like I've only ever seen him do, like, really, like, hammy, schlocky things.
Laurel was really into it for a while.
Really?
Yeah, let's see. Superman Returns, Crisis in Arrowverse. Keep going. Sorry.
Honestly. But that was pretty much... So, like, the Crisis... I felt like this was supposed to be, like, their hugest crossover to date. And while it works in some ways, I feel like it was a letdown in others. Because the last episode... up until like the very latter moments of it was trash. Mm-hmm. It was worthless. I didn't even want to watch it because it ended with the Legends of Tomorrow, which is, my opinion, by far one of DC's weakest television properties. And so they bookend the Crisis story with that show, and it's not until like the latter, literally like the almost right up until the credits roll, that you have that oh shit moment. Because they link in all the basically the Earth 52 that DC had done a few years ago, where they rebooted the entire.
I think I got the comics up there. Yeah.
Where they rebooted the entire DC universe. They kind of do that at the very, very, very end, which they show you like how all these things tie and how like now all of the superheroes live on one Earth.
Yeah. So 1 30-second shot.
Yeah. So I was like, Jesus, this is... So, anyway, I was into it, but it was trash.
That's been, like, the epitome of the problem with superhero TV, is a 30-second shot.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Get you through, like, a whole 8 seasons
of trash. Yeah, it wasn't worth it. Pablo, it wasn't worth it. I have two more things, and then I'm good.
I think we're good. Yeah, I'm pretty much. I mean, I think I'm done here. I started watching The Expanse, haven't finished it yet.
Okay,
it's really good.
Okay. Well, we talked about that.
Yeah.
I've been saying that. Okay. This new shit on Netflix called AJ and the Drag Queen. It's RuPaul's new show.
Right. I watched the preview.
It's kind of great.
Yeah.
I was saying this as I was watching it, I was like, this could have easily been on in the 90s in sort of the capacity of a TGIF kind of show, like along the same lines as Family Matters or Step by Step, or one of those like familial dramas that deals with like modern day circumstances and modern day family situations. The caveat being that this 10-year-old uses a lot of curse words, so you probably wouldn't have gotten it on ABC. You probably would have to watch this on like an HBO Showtime kind of thing. But it's really heart driven.
Oh, it's a series. It's not a movie.
No, it's not a movie. It's a series.
Right.
It's like a 10-episode series starring RuPaul and this I don't know the young actor who plays AJ, but it's really heart driven, really well done, and I highly recommend it. It was the one that I gave 2 stars this week because it surprised me because I wasn't initially gonna click to watch it because I was like, this probably isn't gonna be in my wheelhouse. I mean I don't have any dogs in this fight, and I was pleasantly surprised by the first episode, so much so that it made me swallow the entire phrasing. It made me eat the whole series in one big gulp and want more. I was like,
still sounds sexy, baby.
Buy me a drink, motherfucker.
I got you a drink. I got lots. You are drinking.
Oh my goddamn. Lawrence wants to have sex with me, guys. I just want you to know that.
Oh, God. Be fantastic.
But no, AJ and the Drag Queen. It's really good. And RuPaul, I've never seen her do any like real acting type stuff. This has a very good showing for Ru, as far as like the drama and the comedy and the heart. I think all the things that she is known for as a human being, you get to see and get elevated in this series with her. It's worth a see.
I strangely can't find the writers on here. It's created by RuPaul and Michael Patrick King.
Right.
I'm trying to figure out who did the writing on this. Maybe it's so new that they haven't really put it out
I find
yet.
it's interesting that you can't find who wrote it like right now like that.
Let's see. Keep going.
It's very good. And then the last couple things are Bikram. I watched the
Bikram yoga.
Bikram yoga.
That's the top of the episode to bring us full circle.
It's
worth it or not worth it?
It's worth it. It's worth seeing it because I didn't know any of this stuff about yoga. I just assumed I didn't know Bikram was the motherfucker's name. I thought Bikram was just a different type of yoga that you do.
It's the hot yoga, right?
Yeah. And as you come to find out, this motherfucker basically just stole a bunch of techniques from a guru that had taught him in India, and turned the thermostat up and called it Bikram. That's ostensibly what happened.
Yeah.
But it's also a documentary about the predatory nature of who he was.
Ugh, wow.
So it's kind of like Bombshell, but for yoga.
Right. So the yoga world of Bombshell.
Yeah.
I don't think it'll hurt yoga.
It won't. It won't because the benefits of yoga outweigh the predatory nature of this one aspect of this one dude's version of it.
Right. Maybe we just stop calling it Bikram yoga and call it hot yoga.
Yeah. Whatever. It's worth a view. It's worth viewing to see sort of like the trajectory of how like a fad or like how. Well, for me, what it sort of highlighted was the strength of what yoga can do for a person. Not anything to do with how this dude taught it, but just like the commitment to this way of exercising and being mindful of your own body awareness with breath and strength and lengthening. All the stuff that we, I think, in our society take for granted as far as like tuning into our own physical natures in connection with other like our physicality with each other and our physicality with the planet.
Right.
So take a look. It's not bad.
So to go back to AJ, because I was curious about the representation of the writers on here. So it was definitely written by RuPaul, Michael Patrick King, who's like an older white man, Eric Reyes Liu, Stephanie Soroka, Jehoni Marachenko.
So
Drew.
Those sound like women.
That sounds pretty. Drew, John, and Tracy. Who knows?
So it sounds pretty eclectic.
I feel like if RuPaul's involved, it's probably
representation is going to be there.
Pretty strong, right? Yeah.
I feel like that has to be like her word.
Representation, please. Signing off.
And the last thing I was into this week was the Lovecraft P.I., the comic book that we spoke about last episode, where
we'll come back to it next week.
We're definitely going to come back to it next week because there are a couple books. It's very well done. I mean, if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft's world building and that sort of thing, this will be a comic for you or a graphic novel for you. I think right now there are 2 volumes out. The first being called A Shot in the Dark, and the second one being called The Curious Case of Reanimator. I highly recommend picking up those. Those are really great. And I think next week we'll probably try to get the writer on the podcast just to talk a little bit about it himself and sort of like what inspired him to sort of jump into this with the Lovecraft and all that stuff.
Yeah, super rad. Find out the day, and then we'll
definitely.
We'll coordinate it.
I'm gonna. So Dave, if you're listening this week, I'm gonna be calling you this week to sort of talk through some of these finer points with you and set up a time to sort of have you call in.
Yeah.
That's all I got, man.
I got a letter from my mom, handwritten.
She wrote you a letter?
Handwritten comments.
Okay, all right. I'm into this. Little lovin' early in the morning. Comments.
Larry and Rob, loved the last podcast with Lady Nerd and Shar.
Oh, wow. That was a couple weeks ago.
I agree that one, quote, the kiss, both of them, was unneeded. She's talking about
Rise
of Skywalker.
Yeah, of course. We know, Ma.
Yeah. 2, where did all those Star Destroyers come from?
Wait, in 30 years, they were able to just build Star Destroyers with planet destroyers on them?
Yeah,
Come on!
The Visual Encyclopedia kind of like talks about this, and they also talk about how they've created an automated system so they can be run with a skeleton crew.
Right.
And I'm like, no.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's a shitty explanation, but it works.
This might be where Star Trek or Star Wars dies for me. Like, seriously, like... I've been like on almost a Star Wars depression since seeing the movie.
Cheer up, we getting Picard next week, bro.
I know, I can't wait.
We get Picard in
Please be good.
48 hours, maybe.
Please be good. 3, Rey Skywalker in quotes. No, underlines with a nose.
I agree.
She should just be Rey.
Right.
And to make her a Palpatine was a mistake.
Right.
She should be every man. Better reasoning. She uses a colon there, or a semicolon there, which I appreciate. I gave it a 7.5, which is
that's pretty fair.
Where are you at now? I'm
down
to
a
a 6,
6.5.
I know,
right in that amorphous D area.
Yeah, right. C minus. C minus.
Solid D. Just
You passed.
Yeah, you passed, but my God, do better.
Try.
Better.
Could you try? Did you pay attention in
There's
class?
so much study material. Why didn't you look at any of the study material?
I give you multiple options of questions you can answer. After seeing it, but the Ben Kylo Ren storyline arc was so compelling. Don't you just love Adam Driver? That after Larry's explanation that he knew and foreshadowed his own demise. Wow. She upped it to an 8, 8.5, and we'll watch again. And that's like a lot of mental somersaults, gymnastics. Yeah.
You got to stick a landing in that brain,
right? My headcanon. In my headcanon, that makes it probably an 8. But you know what? In the actual canon of the movie, no.
I wanted to like it more. But having sat with her for a few weeks now, it is.
She does say, it's her little jab. She says, very decent, much better than Game of Thrones.
Yeah!
Rob's on the hate train of Game of Thrones.
Fuck that show.
She says, here's money for your new year. Want you to review Aliens.
Ooh.
Love, Mom.
She gave us the old one?
She says Aliens with an S. Yeah.
Done.
So she gave us $75.
Done. Done deal. I love that.
We'll get on that.
I love those movies.
Yeah.
Especially that second one. That second one is so fucking good.
Yeah.
Introduction of Newt. You got Paul was it Reiser? Reitner?
Reiser, yeah. Paul Reiser, yeah.
Fuck. I think that second one is the best of those movies.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which is hard to say because I love that first one.
Yeah.
Yaphet Kotto, who I'm related to, is in that movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Well, according to my mom, she's like, we're like, he's my like second or third cousin on somebody's side or whatever.
Sweet. Let's call
I
him.
can't confirm or discount. He's dead.
Oh, is he?
He's super dead, bro. He's hella dead.
Really?
Yeah.
He didn't look that old.
Dude, I don't think he was that old. I think he just I think back in those days, high blood pressure was killing black people and the world.
Oh my God. I'm Lawrence Dial.
And I'm your boy Rob Karma Robinson.
And this has been What We Into. You can find us on Facebook, What We Into, at gmail.com if you want to send us a comment. Patreon.com/whatweinto if you want to throw us $1 and support the show. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you to Spalding England.
Yeah, shout out to Spalding England, who has been holding it down for listenership, really?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
Thank you to Moscow, also holding it down.
Whoa.
I mean,
Whoa, fam. It is an election year. Calm down.
They have nothing
Calm
to do. Trust
down.
me, that version of Russia has nothing to do. The pretty people listening to this podcast in Moscow have nothing to do with our election.
They've heard that we listened. We must cover ourselves now.
This is like the what was the North Korean movie with Seth Rogen?
And the something the
I can't remember the
bigot. No, the despot.
Well, anyways.
Yo, we'll see you guys next week. Thanks for listening.
Peace out. Thank you so much. Later, haters.
I'm not even going to dignify.
Not even going to dignify.